Samson, a judge of Israel. Today we step into the story of a man whose life was marked by divine strength and devastating weakness. A man chosen before birth, set apart by God, yet undone by desire, pride, and misplaced trust. This is the story of Samson, a judge of Israel. His story begins not with a battle, but with a barren womb. In the tribe of Dan, a couple lived under the oppression of the Philistines and the sorrow of childlessness. But God saw them, and he spoke. An angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said, "You are barren and childless, but you will conceive and give birth to a son. This child would be a Nazirite set apart for God. No razor would touch his head. His strength would be a sign of his consecration, and he would begin the deliverance of Israel." The boy was born. His name was Samson. This wasn't just a birth, it was a divine assignment. Samson was born into purpose, and as he grew, the Spirit of the Lord stirred within him. But even divine calling doesn't guarantee divine character. Samson was chosen, but he would have to choose obedience. Samson became a man of immense supernatural strength, but alongside that strength came a reckless heart. He saw a Philistine woman in Timnah and said, "She pleases me. Get her for me." His parents warned him, but Samson followed his desire. On the way to Timnah, a lion attacked, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. He tore the lion apart with his bare hands. Later he found honey in the carcass. He ate it, shared it, but kept the secret. At his wedding feast he posed a riddle. Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. But betrayal followed. His bride, pressured by her people, coaxed the answer from him. Samson, enraged, struck down 30 Philistines, and when he returned, he found his wife had been given to another. This was not just heartbreak, it was the beginning of a spiral. A man gifted by God, now driven by vengeance. In fury, he caught 300 foxes, tied torches to their tails, and released them into the Philistine fields, burning everything. The Philistines retaliated. They murdered his wife and her father. Samson struck back with a mighty slaughter, but now his own people feared him. 3,000 men of Judah came to bind him and hand him over. Bound in new ropes, Samson stood before his enemies. And once again, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. The ropes fell like flax. He grabbed a donkey's jawbone and struck down 1,000 men. Victory after victory, but no peace. Samson was fighting battles, but losing himself. Samson's fame grew. He became a symbol of defiance. One night he entered Gaza. The Philistines lay in wait. But at midnight, Samson rose, tore the city gates from their hinges, and carried them to the hilltop near Hebron. It was a bold display, a declaration, "You cannot contain me." But beneath the strength, cracks were forming. Samson had power, but he lacked discipline. He had calling, but no accountability. But his greatest battle was not with armies. It was with a woman named Delilah. The Philistine leaders bribed her to uncover the secret of his strength. She asked. He lied. 7 bowstrings, new ropes, woven hair. Each time she tested him. Each time he broke free. But Delilah was relentless. Day after day she wore him down. And finally Samson broke. "A razor has never touched my head," he said. "If my hair is cut, I will lose my strength." That night, as he slept in her lap, his hair was shaved. Delilah cried out, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He rose to fight, but the Lord had departed. Samson had mistaken the gift for the giver. He thought strength was automatic, but strength came from surrender. The Philistines seized him. They gouged out his eyes, bound him in bronze chains, and made him grind grain in prison. But in the silence of captivity, something began to grow. Not just his hair, but his humility, his dependence, his repentance. Sometimes God allows us to be broken so we can finally be rebuilt. The Philistines gathered to celebrate. They praised their god, Dagon. They brought Samson out to mock him. Blind, broken, humiliated, he was led to the temple pillars, and there he prayed, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Strengthen me just once more." He placed his hands on the pillars. "Let me die with the Philistines." And with one final act of divine strength, he brought the temple crashing down, killing more in his death than in his life. Samson's final breath was a cry of surrender, and God answered. Samson's story is a warning, a mirror, a call. It reminds us that calling without character leads to collapse, that strength without surrender is dangerous, and that even in our darkest hour, God's grace can restore what pride has destroyed. Samson's final act was not just revenge, it was redemption. A broken man crying out to a faithful God, and that is where true victory begins. So what do we take from Samson's life? That gifting is not enough. That power without purity will always unravel. That compromise will always cost more than we expect. But also that God is merciful, that He hears the cry of the repentant, and that He can still use a broken vessel to bring down strongholds. Let Samson's story stir your heart. Let it call you to surrender, and let it remind you His strength is still available for those who return. He said to Paul, and He is saying to you today, "My power is made perfect in weakness." 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9.